What's up, guys? This is Coop with C&T Designs again. This video right here, I want to go through some of the guns that I've built and kind of the journey I've taken on firearms in general. Little bit of backstory. I grew up in a home that had guns. They were most all hunting guns, shotguns, rifles, stuff like that. Matter of fact, I didn't own my first semi-automatic, magazine-fed rifle until 2018. Hold on. Let me step away. I'll grab something real fast. Okay. I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but hell, we're just going to wing it and have a little fun. This is it. It was a Wasser 1063 AK. Why an AK? Because I've always had a fascination with them. My dad and a lot of my uncles served in Vietnam. I heard a lot of stories about the AK when I was researching stuff on Vietnam because it always interested me because I have a personal connection to that war. It's bolt carrier, return spring. I've got this whole thing torn down. This is going to be a parts kit. This was, and I know I'm bouncing around, but this was just a standard stock AK. And I'm going to basically demill everything and build this back as a side folder because I dearly want a side folding AK. I love them. This gun had, I don't know, probably 1,500 rounds through it. Had a little bit of crazy wear coming in on the bolt carrier, whether there's a heat treatment issue or what with it. Probably so. But other than that, I mean, the weapon ran great. I never had any sort of feed issues with it. It's still dirty. I never cleaned it before I even tore it down. Never had any feed issues with it. It was a stand-up gun. But like I said, AKs always interested me. Always. It was the gun that was, and it's kind of you could take it morbid or whatever. It was the gun being used against my family in a war. So I bought this thing in, God, I think I actually got it in early December of 18. Barrel and everything, just standard 16-inch. Tapco G2 trigger. It was just a great gun. I loved it. I love the feel of shooting an AK. I love the recoil impulse on that gun. There's something visceral about it compared to an AR. Matter of fact, I wasn't even going to build ARs. I wanted to build almost just AKs, and now I'm expanding my horizons, kids. Mainly because building a 5.56 AK is not cheap. It's definitely more expensive and a little bit different than building a standard 7.62 AK, which I love the 7.62 round. And people can talk about accuracy all they want. I can still take this gun out to 300 meters, and if I hit you with a 7.62 round, it is not going to feel good. So, any of you guys that want to trash AKs, you can get bent. So I bought the Wasser and decided that I wanted to build an AK. I do things backwards, guys. Go with one of the hardest guns you can build right off the rip when you've never built a gun before. Yeah, that's what I decided to do. Now, when I looked at the tooling for building an AK, my son's walking around behind me. Hey, leave that alone. No, sir. All right. When I looked at the tooling for building an AK, I know I told you the no word, and that's not your favorite word. The tooling for building an AK is expensive. So I looked at a lot of options and started following a lot of guys that are building AKs. I got to Jim Fuller. know I'm going to screw his tag up. Mel D64, Ginsboy. I got to Brandon Herrera, and there were a few other builders that I watched to start learning about this. And I can't remember. I think it was Ginsboy that pointed me to Toth Tools, because with Toth Tools, I wouldn't need a shop press. Everything could be done tabletop with a gun or with a standard vise. So, and I'm going to pull out some tools. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. I don't know how long this video is going to take, but it's just me. So, but I started building my own tools for it. I'd look at Toth Tools, and yeah, guys, I ripped off a lot of your ideas. I'm broke, and I wanted to build a gun. And then started looking at parts kits. And parts kits, even then, 18... I think the cheapest parts kits I could find for like a Romanian kit or something like that were still 500 and some change at the time. And if I'm not mistaken, those weren't even parts matching kits. So, and I didn't know anything about machining at the time, so I had to learn that. Let me see. And I know this is kind of a screwy video, but hey, get over it. This is my video, not yours. Let's see. Since this is the first gun I ever built, let's go through kind of the first iterations of tools. Let's see. Okay, one of the things with AKs is you have to press the barrel in and out of the trunnion. And this is the trunnion of the first gun that I ever built. And the reason this is out of the gun is because when I looked around at a lot of these parts kits, they were very expensive. I didn't have the money to drop on them and just waste, $600 if I couldn't build the gun. So I looked around and I found on Royal Tiger a cheap parts kit. I think I paid $200. It was a blemish parts kit. In other words, it's a gun that Inner Ordnance couldn't even freaking put together. They couldn't put together any guns. But I figured if I spent the money on that, I could learn how to build this gun and see if I could get it done. It was basically a proof of concept. So this is the original front trunnion. Yes, Inner Ordnance, I know. This, like I said, if I couldn't build the gun, I wasn't out much money. Matter of fact, this is that gun rebuilt. The only thing left on this gun that is Inner Ordnance is, I think, the barrel, trigger, hammer, and I don't even think the return spring is Inner Ordnance. The sight block is still Inner Ordnance. The gas block and front sight block are Inner Ordnance, and the dust cover. And I think the rear trunnion. So the front trunnion is now a Romanian front trunnion. The bolt and bolt carrier, I believe, are Polish. Because the original bolt and bolt carrier they sent with this blemish kit were so horrible, it wasn't even funny. When I got the original receiver done, and this is a new receiver, this is a different receiver that I did, because I did the original gun off of 80% flat from AK Builder. So I not only had to build the dies to bend the flat, then of course you have to spot weld in the rails. I think I've got them here, the actual jigs, I guess you could say, to drill out the trunnion holes. Yeah, I've got those sitting here, the original ones I made, because that was another expense. I didn't want to just throw up a bull's butt if I couldn't build the gun itself. So, and it's clear, no magic, heat-seeking, go around corners, bullets, freedom seat, whatever you want to call them. I don't give a shit. It's just, this was the original gun. This was my learning. Then, like I said, this is the second build on it. So a lot better on my rivet work. because I got AK Builder tools after I did my original. When I pressed the rivets on the first gun, I went the Toth Tools route basically, and I took bolt cutters and shaped the jaws to where I could get inside the front trunnion to be able to press the rivets into the front trunnion and make sure that they were nice and clear where I could press the barrel in. My original barrel press, I'm looking just at pictures online, and this is what I made, which is similar to the Toth Tools. Those are what I milled out to sit on the rivets, and when you lock it into a vise, it puts enough pressure on the receiver to hold it in place. And then you've got this that actually screws in and will press the barrel in or out. I made another piece to press the barrel out of a receiver, because this does great if you're just pressing out of the trunnion itself when it's outside the gun like this. I had to make a separate piece to be able to press the barrel out of a receiver. This guy, and it's insane how overbuilt I did stuff. This guy is the actual Toth Tools. After I built the first gun, made sure I could build the gun, then I started investing in some actual commercial tooling. So this is a lot smaller, and I believe it or not, I still use my original to do some work, and I use the Toth Tools. They've got a couple things on it that I didn't think about when I built my tools. Let's see, that was the original gun. Since then, let's see, let's find another one. With the AK Builder tools, this, and I know the scope, guys, you can give me all the hell about it you want, but eventually I'll put like an aim point on it. But the scope works. I've trained with this gun. Take the safety off. I've trained with this gun. This one's got probably 1,000 rounds through it. This is a pistol. And it's just been beautiful. This was me playing around, see what I could do. So I cut down the barrel. This is 12.5. It's got a J-Mac brake on it. I spent some money on that. I can't remember who the 90-degree front sight gas block combination is. I can't remember who that is. I got it from Atlantic. I know that. It's got the Ultimac rail on it. The handguard was just an inexpensive handguard where I could actually put some attachments on the gun. This is the Streamlight. Got it set up just where I can press it with my thumb no matter how I'm using the gun. This was a Romanian kit. This one I think was a numbers matching kit. It's got a RD, Rifle Dynamics adapter on it to where I could use a buffer tube. This one's got a SB Tac brace on it. Full Romanian kit. My receiver came from Atlantic. Now this one was pre-bent. I already had the rails welded into it. Then I got the jig from AK Builder to go ahead and do my axis pin holes, to do the opening for the safety selector, of course, which holds in all your stuff. It's got a, God, who did I do? I don't remember who that plate is from, the retention. Oh, that came from AK Builders Union. Or AK Union, AK Operators Union. Damn, I'm going to mess that up 5 times. So my plate in there that holds in my axis pins and everything, that came from Rob Ski, who is another guy that I started watching. God, I'm holding AK and can't remember Rob. But he's another guy that I followed on AKs that has really taught me a lot. Let me see, Romanian kit, going over all that. It's just, I love this little gun. It's kind of my truck gun. This hangs around with me a lot. The trigger in this one is an ALG trigger. The trigger that originally came in my Wasser is a Tapco G2. The trigger that's in the Frankenstein build that went through from IO and now has just become an actual dependable firearm that won't blow up in my face. I think that's got an ALG in it. I'm pretty sure I put an ALG in that one. And I'm going to mount different scope on here. So you could say this is the first gun and basically the second gun that I built since I rebuilt it. The pistol build was number 3 or 4. Number 3, because after looking at the cost of building a 5.56 AK, that's when I decided, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and build an AR. And I'll get into that gun more. Anderson lower, all the parts on the upper, except for handguard, I think are PSA. Some of the different stuff as far as the AK build from an AR build, as far as cost of tooling, you can get everything to finish out a AR lower for less than $100. And then, much like with any other AR, everything else is kind of plug and play. It's the adult version of Legos. Y'all don't make fun of my cup. Nice skull cup. Going from the Toth Tools rivet jaw bolt cutters that I use. Let me grab another tool. Don't die. This, of course, I had to get a shot press. I got my shot press, I think, for about $100 through Amazon, so that I could actually work with tools like this. This one's got different arms and everything that go on it. This allows me to dimple receivers, press the rivets in the front trunnion, and one or two other things that I'm just brain deading on real quick. But this was a great tool. This was, I want to say 100 and some change. I'd have to sit around and look up all the prices on this stuff. I think ultimately, to build an AK, you're looking at probably a minimum of probably $600 or so worth of tooling to properly build one. To press front trunnion rivets, to do your center support rivet, to do your rivets coming through your rear trunnion, whatever that is, whether it's a side folder, under folder, thick stock like this. I'm sitting here and my son's tearing apart my other parts kit. So the expense in building the AK versus building an AR is a lot different. The skills to do it are definitely a lot different. Being able to press a barrel in and out, headspace that barrel, so there's headspace gauges involved in it. You've got a go gauge, a no-go gauge, a field gauge to check head spacing on an AK, so that this doesn't become an absolute grenade in front of your face. So yeah, I do things backwards. A lot of people will build a lot of other guns before they start out with something as hard as an AK. I just rolled with it, man. It's a gun that I was so interested in, that I wanted to build so bad that I just ran with it, man. I love these guns. They're beautiful. And I treat mine like other people just, I just beat mine to death. And they just go, they run. Let's see, what else? There was something else I was going to show you guys. Oh, hold on. So these are a couple of parts boxes that I have. So this one right here has a bunch of simple parts in it. Front sight, 45-degree gas block, trigger, hammer, disconnector, a lot of different pins, rivets from AK Builder that are outstanding. A couple of different pins that I've used to help either press things in or out, or your safety selector. I can't remember which gun that's from. I've got a couple things that I've been working on for a little bit. Getting to this box. So, just trying to show you guys. This was one of the original pins I made to press the barrel. This one would be into the trunnion. The smaller diameter would be to use with the Toth tool, kind of tool that I made to press the barrel out of the trunnion, because that will fit from the inside going out. Different things. AK tool to demill. So put this on top of a rivet, use it as a guide. All the drill bits. I've got a couple of machinist blocks that I use to hold a barrel in place in the vise when I'm doing different things. This, since I don't have access to a mill, is what I use to thread the barrel after I cut it down. It's got a guide that goes with it to keep everything straight. Oops. These are different mills that I've used to actually cut pockets for rivets on different tooling. This is actually from one of the AK builder kits. So this goes in to press the barrel out. I love all this stuff. It's like candy. I need like 14 more kits stacked to be able to put things together. AK front sight tool. All the pins and stuff in here are basically for my presses. So this would go in to do the long rivets on a receiver, whether it's your center support rivet, stuff like that. Riveted in the rear trunnion. These are the different arms that will go into the AK Builder rivet press. And I've got to clean some of this stuff up. I need a dehumidifier in there. Stat. Let's see. So that's those boxes. So that's a lot of the stuff to build an actual AK. To be able to do your rivets, to even demill old kits. So went from building AKs. I've built a couple of ARs. This AR pistol, getting back to this guy. Like I said, this was an Anderson lower. All the parts for the upper, I think except for the hand guard, are PSA. Into sights, that's a Swamp Fox optic on it that does really well. By the way, don't put this Swamp Fox optic on a low mount on a Ultimac rail. The first time I did that for the AK, the first shot, the screw that actually goes through this to tighten it down to the rail, that screw busted. So that's the reason I have the other side on the AK that I built, and I've got this side on a high mount on the AR, because a low mount on the AK looked good, but it did not survive. Not the first shot. Streamlight on here with the pressure pad. Of course, flip up backup irons. They co-witness with the sight. Again, SB-Tac brace. Blue Force sling. I love that thing. It's a real tough sling. Operates real smooth. QD mounts on it, so I can pop that sling on and off. I can reposition it if I need to. I love this gun. It's got a mil-spec trigger in it. Done a little bit of work to it just to smooth things out. I think that's about everything on this one. Again, it's just a gun that I love. This gun's probably got about 2,000 rounds through it. Well, no, it's got at least 2,000 rounds. Shit, probably closer to 3 at this point. I love this thing. Being able to go to the range and train with it, it's nice and smooth. I don't like it as much as I like my AR pistol, just because I love my AKs, but this is another great gun. It's not specific about ammunition whatsoever. I've run plenty of Wolf and other steel cased 5.56 or 223 out of it, and it just spits them out. It chews them up and just goes. So it's another thing I love about this gun. I think I might have done a little bit on the feed ramps. Not much, just a little bit. Just to kind of polish some stuff. Just kind of like I did with the trigger. Just enough to polish it to where that trigger just, we're completely clear. I knew I was, but just to make sure. Just to where that trigger breaks, just nice. And the reset, a little long, but it's nice and positive. And it just, I mean, it goes. Can I say, man? Looking at the AK, just to pick that back up. I think this was an ALG. So, trigger on it. A little bit of take up, hits a wall, and then gone. Reset. A little bit more than I'd like. But it just, I mean, it just runs. I love it. I think noise is kind of canceling some stuff out, but let's see what else. Going from the AKs to the AR, the next logical progression for me was something like this guy. This was my first P80 build. 17. I got this from Rocky Brass. I got the whole kit from Rocky Brass. I think even my slide and everything came from Rocky Brass, although I can't remember the branding on it. Swamp Fox optic. This gun also has, right around 3,000 rounds through it. 0 failures with it. It's got a TLR light on it. This gun, in a video I might shoot tonight, this gun hangs out on my gun belt. I don't have the front sight on it right now. I'm going to do suppressor height sights on this. This was a fun gun to build. Getting everything running, getting everything to where this gun was just flawless, didn't take long. And that, oh God, I love the trigger on the thing. Very short reset. Once you pull back and actually take the slack out of it, it's a real crisp break. Don't ask me about the trigger, I don't know. The TLR light on it, from Streamlight, I love that thing too, although it eats batteries like a crackhead goes through crack. But, and I don't know whether that's just all lights or whether it's specific to something like that TLR. I love that slide. I love the slide cuts in it. The thing shoots unbelievably well. I had a compensator on that when I originally built it, and I was having some issues with the compensator. It was actually shearing off some of the bullet as the bullet was traveling through. So I've got to work on that. So I put the thread protector back on. Again, love that thing. The Shake Awake light on it, Swamp Fox, has been bulletproof. I've racked that thing on my belt, racked it on my war belt, constantly dry firing, racking it off something next to me. And it's held up. I don't play nice with my guns when I'm testing them. And so far it's run steel case or brass, full metal jackets. I've run a ton of hollow points through it. A couple different brands, Gold Dots, some SIG ammo, and a couple others, and it just runs, man. It's great. The next P80 build I did was the 43. I wanted another smaller, the subcompact. If I was in a situation where, say, dictated by clothing, I needed something a little smaller than my normal carry, I I wanted something like this. Not the best gun on the planet. Shit, shove it in there right, jackass. Not the best gun on the planet as far as fitting my hand. And I don't have huge hands, but I've got some meat hooks. But any gun in that situation, for concealment purposes, was something that I wanted. I threw a mag extension on a couple of the mags for it. And the plan was start out with one of the normal mags where the actual handle or the butt of the pistol wasn't so long, and then go in to have one of these as a secondary or backup mag. So if I was ever in trouble and this thing had to be drawn, well, changing mags doesn't take very long, so the concealability, being able to have that gun on me in certain situations where something like my normal carry would show up too much or print too much, that's why I went ahead and built that gun. And then I'm working on another AK. This one, let me grab it. So this is another Romanian kit. This is a 70. I think the number's matching on my pistols, a 74. And this gun's going to be kind of a theme-built AK. I'm going to try to steampunk this out. An idea my wife was playing with, and I said, yeah, we can give it a try. That's why it's got this big beefy handguard up front. This grip might change to another grip shortly. It's got the big tank muzzle brake on it. It's got the Zukov folding stock on it, which I love that stock. Matter of fact, it was on my Walser for a while before I tore it down and then moved it to this gun. Because I want this gun, when I finish it up, like I said, to be steampunked out. So gauge on back, I'm looking at how to design things to put like copper and braided copper running up the sides. Just make this gun as crazy as I can make it. That's the idea behind this gun. That's why it's built the way it is. It's just, God, I love the trigger in this one too. I can't remember whether that's an ALG or whether it's a trigger that I tuned up, but it's just, it breaks insanely clean. Big Magpul grip on it. I think that's a Tapco handle up front. I just wanted something that looked kind of beefy. It's got QD sling mounts on it. I'm still trying to figure out this gun a little bit more and the theme behind it. So it's got the big freaking cheek riser on it. I want to try to make this thing as crazy as I can. So that right now is all the guns that I have in hand that I've built. There are a couple others laying around. There's a AR-9. No, well, the AR-9 my wife built. She did that. She was doing her SDI classes. She built the AR-9. Let me get it. Well, but don't do nothing crazy. Well, on second thought, she's probably got it in the gun cabinet, and I'm not going in there to get it right now. I just don't feel like playing with it. But she built the AR-9. She's got another AR that she built, full-length handguard, adjustable gas block. I mean, it's a nice gun. That one's got a little bit of an issue, and I think it's the gas block. We just got to kind of play with the gas and dial it back in. And that's the issue with adjustable gas blocks sometimes, where you really have to play with them to get them to feed different types of ammunition reliably. And we just got to play with that gun and get it a little bit more dialed in. But that's it for this video. I know it's all over the place, because hell, I'm all over the place. I'm a freaking squirrel, guys. See something, just go down another rabbit trail. But just have fun with it, man. You know, the plasma cut designs, the vinyl designs, and I think I'm gonna shoot a video about the vinyl designs, just to kind of highlight those. My wife handles the vinyl designs. She's a lot better with that than I am. That's why I handle the plasma cut stuff. We're building up a pretty good base of designs so that once I finish up and get the LLC finalized, we can get our shop opened up online for it and actually start putting out a lot of these designs. Wubba, hey. That's my son's over there. I've got a bunch of parts laying on the other end of the table. Well, hell, let me grab something. I know I'm a squirrel. You guys leave me alone. So, just different parts. Some of this is furniture, you know. This was the original stock that came with that Inner Ordnance kit, the big clubfoot stock. I don't know what look they were going for with it. These are kind of cool. These came with my Romanian kits, so this one, the furniture on it had more kind of trench art to it. And I'm gonna build, hopefully sometime shortly, a couple of guns and do the Romanian wood. Build one that's more like this guy, that's more natural, not really doing anything to the wood. And then I want to take one, since this dong is, you know, in pretty good condition, I want to just play around with refinishing it, and do just a bone stock. Well, that does have some numbers in it. That's got 2317 is what it looks like pressed into it. But I want to take that one and clean the wood up, refinish it, get rid of some of the marks in it, because it looks like someone that actually has notches cut in the front of it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 notches, and one on the side. So they did do a little bit to that. Either that, they just beat it into something 4 times right there in the same spot. But I want to do something that's more of a regular AK. This is a handguard that a buddy of mine gave me right after I got my Wasser, when he figured out that I was into AKs. And this might become the front handguard for another build. My son's got the return spring for an AK playing with it. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit of my journey when it comes to building the guns. And hopefully anybody watches this, you know, maybe you'll decide you want to actually venture out and do it. I mean, hell, if I can do it, anybody can, basically. It's just take some time, some research, and the biggest thing is the money. You know, if I had the money right now, I would be ordering kits for AKs and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, my son's singing in the background. I don't know whether you guys can hear him. He's going through his ABCs. But yeah, if I had the money, man, I'd have kits stacked up to the ceiling right now, and just be running building. So hopefully once we get the business up in line and we can really start producing, and that's what I'll be doing. If it comes up to a point where I can leave my day job, yeah, man, I might miss some things about what I do now, but I'm not going to miss them that much. Not if I had the opportunity to actually get into building. So anyway, again, this is Coop C&T Designs. Hopefully you guys like the video. I think I'm going to do a video, and I might go ahead and shoot it tonight, on a war belt setup, and use that to lead into a lot of the medical stuff that I've learned about in the last few years, and stuff I am 100% that a lot of people ought to have. If you've got the blaster, if you've got something to put holes in somebody, I think you should have something to plug those holes. Because it might not be for that. It could be for a car accident. Skinny Medic, a bunch of other guys I follow, Carry Trainer, and hopefully no one's depressed that I'm mentioning their name, but you know, these guys are 100% right, man. If you're going to have something to punch holes, have something to plug holes. So I'm out for right now. I'm going to toke smoke and then crank up to shoot the next one, guys. Y'all take them easy. Be cool.